Hi guys, welcome to today's mobility flow. So our goal for practice today is to unify our breath, our body, and our mind. Before we get started, let's just take a few breaths. Try to bring some awareness to your breathing. We don't simply inhale and exhale without attention, but instead we make sure breathing is going to initiate every movement we do today. Let's take a couple more deep breaths and then we'll get started. The first movement is called hinge to seiza. I'm going to walk you guys through the progressions, starting with the easiest version in the first rep, and we'll build as we go. Take a deep breath and open your arms, pointing your chest towards the ceiling. Now slowly place your hands on your thighs, then on your knees, slowly to the floor. Come down to your knees and come back very, very gently and slowly. This is the first rep. We're going to take it nice and slow. Go as slow as you need to. There's no need to rush. Let your body open to the extent it wants to open. The important thing is breathing through every movement. Now this time we are going to build on this movement. As you lower your body to the floor, this time we are going to add a heart opener. Raise your arms and point your chest towards the ceiling. Now this time we are going to add to the heart opener. As you lower your body to the floor, place your hands behind your hips and raise your hips and your chest towards the ceiling. Take your time as you come back into the standing position. Now let's repeat that one more time. Keep breathing and really open your body up. Lower yourself. Knees on the floor. Hands behind your hips. Raise your chest and your hips up. Slowly lower them down. Place your hands on the floor and stand up. Now we are going to add a little bit more control on the way up. Let's go down to the floor, knees on the floor, hands behind our hips, raise our body. Now we are going to try to stand up without getting a lot of support from the floor. Try to get up without putting your hands on the floor. You might stumble a little bit in the beginning, but as you practice, you'll get a little bit more control over your movement. Let's try to do that again. Don't forget to breathe. Keep breathing in and breathing out. You should be able to hear yourself exhale. Now as you come up, try to get on the balls of your feet and gently push your body back up. Now we're going to do this one more time, but if you want to continue practicing, just pause the video and keep flowing. Great job. Now let's take a breath or two, and then we'll go into the next part of our flow, which is the cobra sequence. Now let's come down to the floor, first on our knees, and then gently lie down on the floor with your hands by your shoulders. Now we're going to lift our upper body by pushing the heels of our hands into the ground. Now as you come down, open up your arms. Externally, rotate your shoulders with your thumbs pointing up. Bring your hands down towards your chest and push back up again. When you push up, you'll feel a nice stretch in your back. The range of motion may not be a lot in the beginning, but as you practice, it will get better over time. Let's repeat that a couple more times, and then we'll move on with the flow. Well done. Now the next movement in our flow is called half kneel hamstring. Place your left foot in the front, your hands by the left foot, and push your hips back as if you're sitting on your right leg. You can move your hands back towards your knees in the beginning. As you push your hips back, try to flex your spine from neck to upper to mid to low spine. Let's do that again. Try to make a C shape. Another thing to remember is when you push your hips back, flex your toes towards your knee. Don't force it, just progressively get deeper. Let's do a couple more times on the left side, and then we'll switch our legs. Great job. Now bring your left foot back and your right foot in the front. Take a breath and place your hands by your right foot. Lean back, push your hips back, and it's okay to keep your hands closer to your knees at the beginning. If you're fumbling, like I am, take a few seconds to adjust yourself and go back into the movement. Feel the stretch in your right hamstring. Remember to keep breathing and allow your breath to initiate every movement. You should feel a really nice stretch in your hamstrings. Let's do it one more time, and then we will move into our next movement, which is the 90-90 rotation, which is a great one for hip mobility. Now sit down on the floor and bend one leg in front of your body with your hip rotated out. Your leg should form a 90-degree angle, and your ankle should be neutral, so your foot is pointing straight. Now place your hands on the floor and try to rotate your hips to the other side. You can keep your hands behind you for support. Take your time, let your body adjust to this new movement. The important thing really here is to try to keep your back straight and resist the urge to bend to one side. Now you can stay with this movement or you can progress to the one I'm going to show you now. Place one hand behind you and lift your hips off the ground and rotate to the other side. If you have trouble lifting your hips up using one hand, then go back to using both your hands for support until you get stronger to try this with one hand. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, you can try to lift both your hands off the floor and try to lift your hips up and over. I'm not very good at this, to be honest with you. Your back should be straight. Mine doesn't look very straight, so I'm gonna go back to using one hand for support until I get strong enough and my hip mobility gets better. Okay, so our next movement is called lunge hip sequence. Place your left foot in front and your front knee at 90 degrees angle. Place your right hand on the ground. Now rotate your left arm up and around. You're going to feel a massive stretch through your hip flexors, through your shoulder range of motion, and your thoracic mobility. Now, if you're feeling stiff and tight, it's totally okay to place your knee on the floor. But if you feel comfortable, lift your knee off the ground. As I mentioned, you'll feel the stretch in your left hamstring. Let's do it a couple more times and then we'll switch our legs. Now let's switch our legs and place our right foot in the front, left hand on the floor, and move our right hand up and around. The goal really here is to go deeper over time. When you bring your arm back to the front, lean your body forward and then go down into the stretch. You'll feel a lot more stretch in your right hamstring. All right, let's do a couple more and then we'll move on to the next movement. Okay, so this next one is a great one to improve your squat mobility. It really is one of my favorite mobility drills to do every day. Let's get started. Place your right hand on your left shoulder and your left hand on the right shoulder. Now hinge at the waist and push your hips back. Now place your hands on the floor, come down into a squat, and slowly rise back up. Now we're going to build on this as the reps keep going. Now as you lower yourself, instead of putting your hands on the floor, grab your feet and lower yourself into a squat position. Drive knees outwards during the squat so you feel the stretch. Now gently come back up. We're going to keep building on this. Lower yourself. You'll feel a nice little stretch. Now grab your feet. Pull yourself down into a squat position. Keep a tall posture, and this time around, raise your hands above your head as you push yourself back into the standing position. Let's do it one more time. Placing the hands on our chest just helps to stop overextending our lower back. Let's grab our feet, pull ourselves down into a squat position, hands over our head. Now push through your heels and get back into the standing position. Now if you want to feel the stretch a little bit more, you can extend your arms in front of you. Grab your feet. Pull down into the squat position, tall posture, hands above your head. Well done. Now the last movement we have is called the bear walk. Raise your arms and lower yourself. Go as far as you can. If you can get to your knees, place your hands on your knees, or you can put them on your shins, or you can put them on the floor. This requires a little bit of coordination and I'm not very good at it, but let's try to do this. Move your right hand and your left leg forward and really lean back and feel the stretch in your hamstrings. Even if your coordination is off, really don't worry about it. Just try to feel a nice little stretch in your hips and your hamstrings. Now you could make this more challenging by placing your entire hand on the floor. I can't. I don't have that kind of mobility yet, so I'm gonna stay on my fingertips for now. But if you can lower yourself all the way to place your hands on the floor, go for it. Let's take a couple more steps and then we are going to end with a stretch. Great job! We are almost done here. Place your feet together. Place your hands on the floor. If you can, rest your palms on the floor. You can try to do that. If your hands go as far as your knees, that's fine too. Don't worry about it. If you want to challenge yourself, you can place your hands behind your ankles and push your chest towards your knees. Stay here for a few seconds. Keep breathing. Feel the stretch. Now slowly lift yourself back into the standing position. Your body should be feeling really nice and loose by now. Before we wrap up, let's just take a few minutes to take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Be grateful for what you were able to accomplish today. And thank you for joining me in my practice today. Namaste and goodbye.